So, Numbers 28 gave us the daily Tamid, the Shabbat edition, the new moon, Pesach, and Shavuot. Numbers 29 completes the calendar, and it completes it with the most consecrated 30 days in the entire Torah. Seventh month, 3 appointed times in 30 days. First of the month, a day of the shofar blast, a holy convocation. 10th of the month, Yom Kippur, the day of affliction. 15th of the month, Sukkot begins, 7 days, and here is something you will not find anywhere else in the Torah calendar. The part offering count goes down every single day. 13 bullocks on day 1, 12 on day 2, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7 on day 7, and then an 8th day, Shemini Atzeret, closing assembly on its own. Stay with me for Numbers 29. You're on Torah Sax Studio, Torah Studio with saxophone worship, verse by verse through scripture. Numbers 29 is the second half of the 2-chapter worship calendar unit that began in Numbers 28. The chapter covers the 7th month, Teshri in the later calendar, which contains more appointed times in a single month than any other period in Torah year. The chapter has 4 sections. Torah it has 4 sections. Rosh HaShanah on the 1st of the month, Yom Kippur on the 10th, the 7 days of Sukkot beginning on the 15th, and Shemini Atzeret as the 8th day and closing day. I want you to like and subscribe because Numbers 29 has something in its structure that most readers miss on a casual read. A festival that is designed to give more while asking. Let's look at the first 6 verses of Numbers chapter 29. And in the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, you shall have a holy convocation. Mikra Kodesh. You shall do no customary work. It is a day of blowing the trumpet for you, Yom Teruah. The phrase Yom Teruah, the day of the shofar blast, the day of sounding, gives this day its character. Unlike Pesach or Shavuot, which are tied to agricultural season, on unleavened bread, the wheat feast harvest, the first day of the 7th month is defined by a sound, a blast, a sounding of the shofar. The offering: 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without blemish, their grain offerings. 3/10 for the bullock, 2/10 for the ram, 1/10 for each lamb, 1 male goat for a sin offering to make atonement. Verse 6. All of this is in addition to the new moon burnt offering and its grain offering, the regular Tamid burnt offering with its grain offering and their drink offerings according to their ordinance, as a sweet aroma, an offering made by fire to the Creator. This is significant. The first of the 7th month is also Rosh Chodesh, new moon. So this day receives the new moon offering plus the additional day shofar offering plus Tamid, 3 layers on a single day. Every other appointed time in Numbers 28 and 29 is anchored to something visible or tangible. Unleavened bread for Pesach, new grain for Shavuot, the goats for Sukkot. The first day of the 7th month is anchored to a sound, Teruah, the blast of the shofar. Teruah does not explain what the sound means or what it commemorates. It simply commands that the day be marked by his sounding. The convergence of 3 layers on the 16th day, the regular Tamid, the Rosh Chodesh, the offering, and the additional Yom Teruah offering makes the first day of the 7th month one of the most heavily offered single days in the entire calendar, even though no festival of pilgrimage is attached to it. The day's significance is not measured by its own agricultural content, but by its position. The opening of the 7th month marked by sound layered with offerings. The day of the shofar establishes a principle that the Creator marks certain moments not by what they produce, but by what they announce. A sound does not carry a harvest, it carries an announcement. Something is beginning, something is being called to attention. Numbers 29 opens its most concentrated month with a day whose entire content is a sound and a communication. Are there moments in your own walk that Creator marks not because of what they produce, but because of what they announce. A beginning, calling to attention, sounding before the work of the season begins. The first day of the seventh month, defined by a sound. Yom Teruah, a day of the shofar blast. No agricultural content, no harvest, just a sounding and a holy convocation, layered on top of the new moon, offering and the Tamid. Numbers 29 says, some of the Creator's appointed times are announcements, not harvests. Verse 7 through 11. Yom Kippur. Let's look at Yom Kippur, day of affliction. And on the 10th day of the seventh month, a holy convocation, ye shall afflict your souls. Ve'etnim et nafoshet tekein. You shall do no work at all. The phrase afflict your souls is unique to Yom Kippur among all the appointed times. Every other festival in Numbers 28 and 29 prohibits leket avoda, servile or laborious work. Some verse permitted. Yom Kippur prohibits kol melaka, all work, without exception, the same standard as Shabbat, and it adds this additional dimension, affliction of the soul. The offering in verses 8 through 11, 1 young bullock, 1 ram, 7 lambs for the first year without blemish, their grain offerings, and 1 male goat for a sin offering besides the sin offering for atonement, and the regular burnt offering with its grain offering and their drink offerings. The phrase besides the sin offering for atonement refers to the elaborate Yom Kippur service described in verse 16, 2 quotes. The high priest entering the Holy of Holies, scapegoat sent into the wilderness. Numbers 29 gives the additional communal offering layered on top of that entire service and on top of the Tamid. Every appointed time in the Torah calendar that involves no work shares a common standard, except Yom Kippur. It's held on the Shabbat standard of complete cessation and adds the written instruction to afflict the soul. This is the only day in the entire calendar where the Torah specifies an inward posture, not just an outward cessation, but an inward state of nefesh, the soul. Rest is not enough on this day. Something more is required. The layering on Yom Kippur is the most complex of any calendar in the day in the calendar. The elaborate Vayikra 16 service with its 2 goats and the high priest's entry into the Holy of Holies. The additional communal offerings specified in Numbers 29. 1 bullock, 1 ram, 7 lambs, 1 goat, and the Tamid underneath all of it. 3 distinct layers of atonement-related activity converged on a single day, alongside the instruction to afflict the soul and do no work whatsoever. Yom Kippur establishes that there are moments in the covenant calendar that are more than the absence of activity. Rest. Ceasing from work is the baseline for several appointed times. Yom Kippur adds an inward dimension, affliction of the soul, an active inward posture that goes beyond outward cessation. Numbers 29 says, some appointed times ask you to stop. This one asks you to stop and to turn inward with deliberate weight. The absence of activity is not the same as the presence of affliction. Every other festival prohibits certain work. Yom Kippur prohibits all work and adds afflict your souls. The only day in the calendar with an inward instruction, not just an outward one. Numbers 29 says, rest is the baseline. This day asks for something more, a deliberate inward posture, not just an absence of activity. Now, Sukkot, verses 12 through 34. The longest section is in this chapter because each of the 7 days is specified individually. Verse 12. The 15th of the 7th month, a holy convocation, a 7-day feast of the Creator. Day 1, 13 young bullocks, 2 rams, 14 lambs with all their grain offerings, plus 1 male goat as a sin offering, in addition to the Tamid. Day 2, 12 young bullocks, everything else the same. Day 3, 11 young bullocks. Day 4, 10 young bullocks. Day 5, 9 young bullocks. Day 6, 8 young bullocks. Day 7, 7 young bullocks. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Every day of Sukkot, bullock count drops by exactly 1. Across the 7 days, the total number of bullocks offered is 70. 13 plus 12 plus 11 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 equals 70. Verse 35. And on the 8th day you shall have a sacred assembly, Atzeret. You shall do customary work, meaning Atzeret, one offering, 1 bullock, 1 ram, 7 lambs, back to the same configuration as Rosh HaShanah and Yom Kippur. 8th day stands apart from the 7th. So we're talking about a festival that gives more while asking less. The declining bullock count of Sukkot is unique in the entire Torah calendar. No other festival has a count that changes from day to day. 13 on day 1 and descending to 7 on day 7 is not an accident of the text. It is a design pattern. Each day of Sukkot, the community brings 1 fewer bullock than the day before, while everything else, the rams, the lambs, the goat, the meat, remains constant. Total of 70 bullocks across the 7 days of Sukkot has been noted throughout the Jewish tradition as connected to the 70 nations descended from Noah in verse 10. Though the Torah itself does not state this explicitly in Numbers 29, it is an observation about the total that emerges from adding the days together. What the text does establish clearly is the descending pattern itself, a festival where the requirement diminishes each day, even as the festival itself continues at full length and full joy. Sukkot is described elsewhere in Torah as Zaman Simchatenu, the season of our joy, the most joyful festival in the calendar, marked by dwelling in temperate shelters, by the first species, by extended celebration, and yet the required offering count goes down every day. The festival does not need an escalating requirement to sustain its joy. If anything, the pattern moves in the opposite direction. Less is asked as the festival proceeds, even as the joy and the dwelling in the Sukkot continue at the same intensity throughout. Numbers 29 quietly teaches that the sustaining of joy is not dependent on an escalating offering. Are there areas of your life where you assume more output sustains more joy? When Sukkot's pattern suggests the relationship may not be what you assume. 13 bullocks on day 1. 7 on day 7. Every day of Sukkot, the count drops by 1, while the festival itself, called the season of our joy, continues at full strength for all 7 days. Verse 29 says, the sustaining joy is not dependent on an escalating requirement. Less was asked as the festival went on, and the joy did not diminish. Now, the closing of the calendar. Verses 35 through 38, and the final verse of the chapter, 39 through 40. And on the 8th day you shall have a sacred assembly, Atzeret, you shall do no customary work. The offering, 1 bullock, 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first without blemish, their grain offerings and drink offerings, and 1 male goat for a sin offering, regular burnt offering, his grain offering and his drink offering. This configuration, 1 bullock, 1 ram, 7 lambs, 1 goat, to the offering for the day of the shofar at the opening of the month adds to Yom Kippur. 7 days of Sukkot with their descending counts of 13 down to 7 stand as their own unit. The 8th day is separate, sacred assembly with its own distinct character, closing the 7 months sequence. These, verse 39, these you shall present to the Creator at your appointed times, besides your votive offerings and your free will offerings, for your burnt offerings, your grain offerings, drink offerings, and your peace offerings. So Moshe told the children of Israel everything, just as the Creator had commanded Moshe. The chapter and the entire 2-chapter calendar, begin in Numbers 28, closes with this statement. Moshe told the people everything the Creator commanded, nothing withheld, the calendar. The placement of Atzeret, the 8th day, immediately after the 7 days of Sukkot, with an offering configuration that matches the day of the shofar and Yom Kippur, rather than the continuing the Sukkot pattern, marks it as its own appointed time rather than simply the conclusion of Sukkot. The 7 days of Sukkot form a complete unit with their own internal pattern, descending from 13 to 7. The 8th day begins something new, even though it follows immediately. The Torah structure here, 7 days as one unit, and 8th day as a separate appointed time. establishes a pattern of completion followed by a distinct closing. 7 days do their work, descending in their offering count, sustaining the joy of the festival throughout. And then the eighth day arrives as its own assembly. Not a continuation of the descent, not an extension of the seventh, but a return to the simpler configuration that marks the beginning of the month. Numbers 29 closes the entire worship calendar. Numbers 28 and 29 together with a structure of 7 plus 1. 7 days of Sukkot completing in themselves, sending in their requirement while sustaining their joy. And then an eighth day, separate its own assembly, its own appointed time. The calendar does not simply end when the 7 days end. There's a closing assembly distinct from the festival that follows. In the rhythm of your own life, do your seasons of intensity have a clear seventh day? And do you all observe the eighth day as its own distinct clothing, rather than simply letting the season trail off? 7 days of Sukkot, descending from 13 bullocks to 7, completing themselves. Then an 8th day shall be Atzeret, its own sacred assembly, its own offering, separate from the 7. Numbers 29 say, completion is followed by a distinct closing. The calendar does not just end, it closes deliberately on its day. Numbers 29 closes the Torah's worship calendar with the most concentrated month in the entire year. 4 things this chapter gives you. A day defined by sound. The first of its 7th month, Yom Kippur, marked by the shofar blast and layered with the moon and the tamid. Some appointed times are announcements, not harvests. The day that asks more than rest. Yom Kippur holds the Shabbat standard of complete cessation and adds affliction of the soul. Rest is the baseline. This day asks for an inward posture beyond the absence of activity. A festival that gives more while asking for less. Sukkot's bullock count descends from 13 to 7 across 7 days, while the festival's joy continues at full strength throughout. Sustaining of joy is not dependent on an escalating requirement. The 8th day stands alone, meaning Atzeret with its own sacred assembly, separate from the 7 days of Sukkot, closing the calendar deliberately rather than letting it trail off. The question Numbers 29 leaves you with, in your own seasons, do you recognize the sounds that announce gain, the days that ask for more than rest, the season where less is asked as joy continues, and the 8th day that closes deliberately rather than just fading out? Thank you for walking through Numbers 29 with me. Remember to like and share and subscribe to our Sax Studio. And do not miss Numbers 30. The laws of vows, what is spoken before, greater cannot be casually